There's something a lot of people do every day without realizing how much damage it causes. They speak against themselves, not out loud all the time. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes it sounds like a passing thought, but it's there. And over time, these thoughts become the way they see themselves. It sounds like, I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I'll never get it right. Why do I even try? And maybe you've said things like that before. Maybe not to anyone else, but to yourself. And the thing about speaking negatively to yourself is this. Your mind is always listening. Even when you think it's just frustration, even when you think it's harmless, even when you say, I don't really mean it, a part of you hears it. A part of you stores it. And after hearing it enough times, a part of you starts believing it. That's how it happens. Not in one big moment, but in small, repeated moments. A criticism here, a harsh thought there, a habit of tearing yourself down before life even gets a chance to. And after a while, it becomes normal. So normal that you don't even notice how often you do it. But imagine this. Imagine if someone spoke to you the same way you speak to yourself. Would you want to be around them? Would you trust them? Would you feel safe with them? Probably not. And yet, many people live with that voice inside every day. A voice that picks apart their mistakes. A voice that reminds them of what they haven't done. A voice that keeps score. And the hard part is, a lot of that voice wasn't created by you. Sometimes it was built from things you heard growing up, things people said, things people implied, things that made you question yourself. And even if those voices are gone now, sometimes their words stayed. And now you repeat them to yourself without realizing where they came from. But here's what matters. Just because you learn to speak to yourself that way doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. You can change the conversation. Not overnight, not perfectly, but intentionally. Because the way you speak to yourself shapes the way you move through life. If every time you try something new, your first response is doubt, you'll hesitate. If every mistake becomes proof that you're failing, you'll stop trying. If every setback becomes a reason to criticize yourself, you'll carry unnecessary weight. And life is already heavy enough. You don't need to add your own voice to the pressure. That doesn't mean you ignore your mistakes. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means learning the difference between being honest with yourself and being cruel to yourself. Those are not the same thing. Honesty says, that didn't go well. I need to learn from it. Cruelty says, I failed. so I must be a failure. Honesty helps you grow. Cruelty keeps you stuck. And a lot of healing starts right there, in learning how to correct yourself without tearing yourself apart. Because growth isn't built through self-hatred. It's built through patience, through honesty, through giving yourself room to improve without making your worth dependent on perfection. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to have days where you feel behind, days where you compare yourself, days where you feel like everyone else has it figured out. That's part of being a human. But your hard days do not define you. Your mistakes do not define you. Your slower seasons do not define you. And if you're constantly speaking against yourself, you start fighting battles inside that no one else can see. Battles that wear you down. Battles that make you question things about yourself that were never broken. So maybe the next time you catch yourself speaking negatively, pause and ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? And if the answer is no, why is it okay to say it to yourself? You deserve your own kindness too. Not just your discipline, not just your effort, not just your correction, your kindness. And kindness toward yourself doesn't make you weak. It makes you healthier. It makes you stronger. Because when you stop fighting yourself, you have more energy to face life. So be careful with your words, especially the one no one else hears. Because those words build your inner world, and your inner world shapes everything. Speak to yourself like someone worth caring for. Speak to yourself like someone still growing. Speak to yourself like someone who deserves another chance. Because you do. The way you speak to yourself matters more than you think. You hear your own voice more than anyone else's. Make sure it's not the one tearing you down. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of patience, growth, and compassion. Start there. Start by changing the way you speak to yourself. And watch how much begins to change around you. Together, let's move from doubt to power, one story at a time.